Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. An unfortunate situation has happened yesterday at Grand Central Terminal in New York. A 36-year-old man wanting to sit in the same spot that two teenagers, 14 and 16, were sitting, stabbed these two girls, these two young teenagers, and basically alleged that he wants to see all white people dead. You know, you have to start off with crazy stuff like this, right? Let's get right into this article because what's crazy about this is the fact that this man is 36. He's a full-grown adult who attacks two teenagers based on some, I don't know, racial ideology that he has. So let's get right into this. Two teenage girls were reportedly stabbed on Christmas Day while enjoying a meal at the Grand Central Terminal. That incident occurred before noon on Monday at a restaurant called Tartanerie in the Grand Central Dining Concourse. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. According to reports, the alleged assailant, Stephen Hutchinson, 36, remember that, of the Bronx, argued with restaurant staff over sitting in the restaurant space, at which point he allegedly remarked that the two teen girls, 14 and 16, were allowed to sit there before pulling out a knife and stabbing both of the young women, authorities say. Wow. Police responded in seconds, and Hutchinson ultimately surrendered, of course. There's nowhere you're going to go with that, bro. But here's the killing part. Just listen to this. According to WABC TV, quote, he was charged with felony counts of attempted murder, assault, criminal possession of a weapon, and misdemeanor endangering the welfare of a child. However, the outlet noted that he is also being investigated for a potential hate crime, as law enforcement sources told the New York Post that the man yelled, quote, "I want all white people dead," adding, quote, "I want to sit next to the crackers." So I'm going to assume, I don't want to jump too far ahead here. I'm going to assume that whoever this man is, I don't know what race, it doesn't show a picture of his race or anything. This article doesn't show the guy's face. What race was he? I don't know if he's white, black, or whatever. I don't know. You know, you got white people that's racist against white people. So I don't know. You know, I'm going to assume that either was black or some other ethnicity. More than likely not white. So, but you never know nowadays. In this messed up world we live in, you never can tell. The two teens visiting from South Africa were taken to Bellevue Hospital to be treated for their injuries. One young woman was stabbed in the thigh and the other in the back. According to reports, the injuries were considered non-life threatening. This was not, here's what I want you all to focus on here. This was not Hutchinson's first run-in with law enforcement either. He faced two weapons possessions arrests in the last 6 months alone. Yeah, it's usually the case. People like this usually have some kind of a record, right? Let's look deeper into this. Violent crimes has remained a consistent issue in Democrat-run New York City. In early December, at least 4 people were killed in a stabbing that occurred at a home in the city. It's a stabbing. 4 people. 4 people were killed in a stabbing, not a shooting. What you gonna do? Ban knives? Let's not even get into that. That occurred in a home. It occurred at a home in the city, and police responded to reports of a fatal stabbing. There go over the stabbing again, involving an 18-year-old in Manhattan district, following what was described as a trail of blood. Earlier this year, researchers at John Jay College of Criminal Justice released the results of their study showing that felony suspects released without bail are more likely, okay? Doesn't guarantee, but more likely to be rearrested for more felonies than those who were given bail prior to the state's bail reform law. And that's the end of that article there. And I wanted you guys to listen in on that because you got to look at the part of this ridiculous bail reform law. And this guy clearly has a record, okay? And had this what this suggests is, had they not reformed this bail situation thing, had they not created this and made it law with this bail reform, perhaps he would still be in jail, okay, off the streets and not endangering other people's lives. But unfortunately, we have here a 36-year-old male who, for whatever crazy reason, decides to stab two teenagers, 14 and 16. Thankfully, and on Christmas, that's what's wicked about it. But evil and wickedness and violence and crime on any day of the year does not surprise me. That's the America we live in. America is down the drain now when it comes to morals, way down the drain, man. But yeah, this is crazy here, and I wanted to talk about the fact that this individual male, what I believe part of his mentality is based on him being radicalized by this hatred for white people. Now, when I say that, what I'm suggesting is that perhaps he is a part of some kind of a group or a faction of a belief system or a faction of, I'm not saying he is, the article doesn't say, but I suspect, okay, that either he's a part of one of these kind of groups that are very racially motivated against white people, or he has read up on information and books that preach hate towards white people. Hate begets hate. It never solves anything. It never solves anything. I mean, decades ago, it used to be a time where blacks, particularly when I say decades, I mean prior to the 60s, it used to be a time where blacks were fearful of whites, particularly in the Deep South. They were terrified of whites. Now, it's the flip side, it's the other way around. And here's the killing part about it. Not only are whites in general fearing a lot of black people, but black people are fearing black people. I find this interesting because one of my coworkers several weeks ago, during the time it was time to call off around 11 o'clock, close to 11 o'clock, call off time, he's talking to one of the other coworkers, and I overhear him saying things like, kind of joking but serious at the same time. He's like, well, it's nothing wrong with saying, are you scared of these kind of people? Because you kind of black people, just say it, you scared of black people. Because guess what? We scared of black people too. And he was joking, but he was not joking. Now, what black people is he talking about more than likely? More than likely, the black people that he's talking about are unfortunately in the inner cities and in the ghettos where a significant number of black people tend to have that mentality. Where that mentality comes from, it varies. But they tend to have this violent, misguided, secluded mentality about all white people. Okay? The stuff that's pumped into their head. Okay? And when you are around those kind of people, okay, and I hate to put it that way, but I don't know how else to put it. When you're around those kind of people who have that kind of mentality, you might, not all the time, but you might have some serious run-ins, particularly if you're white. But it doesn't even matter if you're white, okay? You can be black, and you can be someone with a decent mind as a black person, and be fearful of crossing the street, having one of these, let me rephrase that, be fearful of a group of black teenagers behind you with hoodies on, walking behind you. I'm more afraid of a group of black teenagers walking behind me than I would a group of white teenagers walking behind me. Decades ago, it was the reverse. Decades ago was different. Today is the reverse. And it's a crying shame. Now, I'm speaking in reference to teenagers here, but also, since this guy is 36 years old, also in reference to people from the area. Now, I don't know if this man is from the ghetto or the inner city. I can't say that. Okay, I can't say that. He could be a highly educated man for all I know. I don't know. But I bet my money he's from the inner city ghettos. Pumped his head full of nonsense, and now he stabs two 14-year-old girls. And this what's crazy about this too, is the fact that this man had to have known these two young girls were teenagers. Really? 14 to see. You have that much hate in your heart towards white people that you're willing to take the life of two innocent teenagers? You're 36 years old, bro. Hopefully they put him under the jail. Like literally, they like take a a jackhammer, break up the ground, put him under, put him under the ground with some bars in it. Okay, that's what they need to do, and then put cement back over it and let it harden up. Harden up. Put him under the jail, because this guy shouldn't have been out to begin with. He has a criminal history, and these dumb, stupid, ignorant bail reform laws, as I don't know how to put it, well-intentioned that they may be, the results tend to always be disastrous. The very people that these liberals claim that they're helping, they're not helping. The only people these liberals are helping is criminals. You're helping the criminals. Get that straight, liberal politicians. Get that straight, liberal academia. You're not helping me. Okay? You're not helping me. You're not helping the average black person. You're helping the do-nothings. You're helping the criminals. Get that straight. That's what makes me suspect, or suspicious rather, of you and your intentions. Are you really trying to help us, or are you purposely trying to destroy us? Because that's what I'm led to believe. Let me end the video on this. Malcolm X said these words, and I'm paraphrasing these words, decades ago. He said the conservatives they racist too, but they have their own way of doing that. I don't support that. I disagree with them on that. But he says it's the liberals that smile. This is what Malcolm X said. It's the liberals that smile in your face and shake your hand and pose and claim to be your friend. I'm your friend. When in reality, they're trying to dig ditches for you. They want control over your life. You know what? I'm starting to believe that. I'm starting to really believe that white liberals in academia and politics do not mean black people good. I know I've turned on that right there, but that I'm saying that in reference to this whole nonsense of this bail reform law. Because we all know that blacks, unfortunately, commit most crimes in the country. So the so-called bail reform laws is going to have an effect on the black communities more than anything. But guess who it's going to hurt? It's going to hurt the regular blacks and whites and help the criminals. I'm just saying, this is baloney. The laws need to change. As black people, we need to change our voting habits. We need to change our voting habits. But that's what I had to say about that. This is ridiculous. Thankfully, these two young girls, their injuries are not life-threatening. But this man, he needs to be buried under the jail, never to come out again. Okay, so that's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.